So this is just kind of an overview for Brightspace. And I was able to look at least for those who'd signed up as of last night, some of the registration page questions. Mainly we're dealing with um, folks who are completely new to Brightspace or have a little bit of experience. So that's great. That's the target audience I'm trying for here. This is an opportunity for me just to kind of walk through some of the steps that you might want to consider using to get started with Brightspace. Uh, the Teams webinar here, with this all remote, it's not like we're going to have a lot of hands-on, help session kind of opportunities this morning. But I hope that, just by talking about some of the things that you would want to consider when getting started with Brightspace, you'll be able to, go to your course spaces and begin to do some of this setup. Now, I do want to, let me go ahead and share my screen because I want to show you some resources. Uh, let's try this. So hopefully you're seeing Brightspace, and it looks like I've got a little icon of me on it. So when you do
Yep,
log
looks
into
good.
Brightspace, what?
I was just confirming it looks good.
Okay, good. Um, so when you do log into Brightspace, you'll see your courses widget. I'm looking here at my pinned courses. I do want to point out that if you haven't taken a look at it and you are new to Brightspace, you'll want to look at this SUNY DLE Brightspace Fundamentals course that's been set up by the folks at SUNY Online. Um, if you open up that course space, um, over here, you'll see a variety of units, and there are some units at the top here that are more pedagogically focused. But if you really want to just dive into how to use Brightspace, these modules down here, looking at the kind of interface like we're looking at now, how to put content up into your course, how to communicate with your students, working with the gradebook. These are modules you can go to at any time and work through the help materials there. So just want to, point that out to you. But let me get back to our Brightspace. And um, I want to begin just by pulling up the course that I taught this past summer to give you a kind of a feel for what you can be doing with Brightspace. And so this summer I taught my Search for Life in the Universe course. What you'll see in a course that's been kind of fleshed out is this on the home page here. I want to focus on this visual table of contents widget. As you set up units in your course space, they will be displayed here. So, I have a getting started module. I've got foundations, a module on life on Earth. I basically split my course up into three basic units: life on Earth, life looking for life in the solar system, and then looking for life beyond the solar system. This is an 8-week course, so I kind of split up the course that way. There is this content browser that repeats that kind of access to the organization, announcements, and some other widgets on the course homepage. So that's what a reasonable course looks like. I'm not saying my course is a stellar example, but it's one that I can easily pull up. When you are given a course space in Brightspace for purchase, your course space will look sort of like this, or will look like this. Again, there's the content browser and the visual table of contents, but if you haven't set up a table of contents, if you haven't set up an organization for your course, there's not going to be anything there. There is the announcements widget, work to do. This is primarily student focused. This quick eval widget is where you can keep track of materials have been turned in to your Brightspace course that you need to grade. The calendar activity feed is another way to communicate with your students beyond the announcements. Uh, so the question is, how do you begin to start building your course? And you want to spend a little bit of time going over this kind of overview because so many of you are just kind of brand new to Brightspace. In terms of what people were interested in looking at, adding assignments was the top thing, so we'll go there next and then talk about adding some other activities, creating course pages, and if we've got time, we'll look at Brightspace Virtual Classroom. So those of you who have taught in Moodle for us, this is a little bit different or a way of having your course organized. You know, in Moodle, when we created course shells for everyone, they were set up with a weekly kind of structure. The first week of your Moodle course corresponding to the first week of the semester, all the way down through the 14 or 15 weeks of the semester. If you wanted to change your course to topics format, like in my case, 3 main topics, you can do that in Moodle, but at least you had a structure in which you could begin to build your course. In Brightspace, you really have to determine how you're going to organize your course and actually create those modules that you're going to put in various resources and activities that would make up your course. So in Brightspace, you have a couple of different ways of establishing that overall organization. Um, Under course management, and I'll share the outline I'm using for the session to all of you later so that you can remember some of these things. But under the course management tab up here in the toolbar, there's a course admin function, which gives you access to a whole lot of aspects of managing your course, most of which we're not going to go into today. But there is this course builder. I just want to point it out to you. Gives you kind of a visual representation of your course. You can build the outline of your course by dragging and dropping modules into this area here, and then add placeholders for content and so forth. I've personally have not found this all that useful. It's easy. It's just as easy to go into the content area of your course, where you will have basically a table of contents for your course. And let me actually go back to the course I taught this summer. If I go into that course builder functionality in my established course, you'll see here that you have this kind of graphical representation of the outline of the course. And in each of these modules, you can drag in various options. If you go to the content area for my course that I've kind of built out, to my mind, this is most similar to how Moodle is set up, where you've got the area where you've got your course split up into various modules, whether they're weeks or topics, and then each of those Each of those modules is a place where you can stick different kinds of activities. And Marie, I'll let you follow the chat. Just let me know if there's anything that I need to address in the chat as we're going along.
Will do.
So going back to the kind of empty course shell that you would get when courses are run for a particular semester. So I'll go back here into this sandbox course space. The way I would start building out the modules for my course would be actually just go straight into the content area. And you can see here, there are no modules in my table of contents, but it's pretty straightforward. You click add a module, and you can just start putting in a title. So like getting started, a place where you might stick all of your overall course materials. You can put the syllabus up here. You can put up a discussion forum here for, people to ask questions about the course. And you can just add modules as needed to represent your course. If you are wanting to organize your course around weeks, you just add week 1, week 2, week 3. If you're structuring your course around units, which is what I'll do, I can add another module here, call it Unit 1, and I'll call it Life on Earth. And then let me just add a couple more units here. And so in any one of these modules, whether they're weeks or units or whatever, you can, in the table of contents here, click on one. And then, so here's my first unit. You can see the title of the unit up here, and there is this little downward pointed caret that would give you access to various kinds of things you can do with this unit. You could edit the title. I could change that title if I wanted to. You could delete the module. You can move it up and down and so forth. Also, when you're looking at the module here, you can click on any of these areas where you can add dates or restrictions. So if you want to add a start date and a due date for this unit, you could do that. You could create conditions where students can't get into look at the materials in this unit until they have completed some other activity. And you can add a description. If you click on add a description, welcome to the first unit, you can get access to the kind of standard text editing toolbar that we have here in Brightspace. These are all pretty self-explanatory, adding styles. You can insert images, you can insert links to other items in your course. You can, if you want to embed a YouTube video, get the embed code from that YouTube video and click on this tool here. So for example, if I wanted to take this video here, I could go to share and get the embed code. And I'll copy all of that. Go back into my course here, click the source code tool. Don't be scared about that. It just shows you the HTML behind, and you can paste in the YouTube embed code, and you've got, your description, any images, any links, whatever you want in the description here. And I can update that. And if I go over to another unit, come back here, you can see that here is this first unit. So it's very easy, I think, from the content area just to start building out the weeks or the topics units that you want to have your course organized around. Like I say, you can rename, you can delete those, you can move them up and down. You can also just drag and drop them here. If for some reason I wanted to go to Unit 3 before Unit 2, I could just grab this um, symbol next to the name of Unit 3, drag and drop it up above Unit 2, and you've rearranged the materials in your course. Okay. So, like I say, in Moodle, you got courses with weeks already defined. In Brightspace, you have to define whether you want weeks, whether you want units, however you want to organize it, and then just add them. Um, Let me now go to um, adding an activity or an assignment activity, because that was the number one item that was on the list of things that people wanted covered this morning.
Can I just jump in with the question before you move there?
Sure, Jenny, go ahead.
Because I noticed that on your modules, you had different banner images on each module. Is that
Yep.
just adding the image to where you are now?
Yeah, so
Okay, okay.
to get those different banner images, if you um, it's kind of weird. You can't specify an image if we go to the course home here now, you can actually see that the content browser has the units, and they also show up in the visual table of contents. You can't really just drag and drop an image onto these panels here, which would be, the way that you might think about doing it. But if you go, for example, to the life on Earth, and rather than this YouTube video, well, let me go to a different. We go to getting started here. We go to images and pull up getting started. And that looks kind of good. Let's save that image. I'll just save it to my desktop here. Hopefully it will be a no. Cancel. I like to really open up images in a new tab so that I know what I'm getting here. So this is a JPEG image. I can save that image down to my computer. And then if I go back into Brightspace, and click on add a description here, I can click on the insert image button, go to my computer, and find that I thought I'd shared my desktop. Maybe I shared it downloads there. It's in downloads. You can add the image and update. And then if you go back out to course home, you will see that in Chrome, you don't see the image. But if I were in Firefox, you would see that the getting started now had a little getting started. So I'm working all in Chrome because we're sharing in Teams. I need, one browser, one application window to share. This is a quirk in Chrome that it doesn't always show you the images that you have so carefully put into your different modules, which is why I've kind of switched over to working mostly in Firefox when I'm in Brightspace. Anyway, um, so let's talk about adding an assignment activity. Um, Brightspace is either helpful or confusing in that there are multiple ways that you can add things to your course environment. And so if you go under course tools here, you'll see that there is an option to view all of your assignments. If you are looking here in a particular module, you can see these pull-down menus, and under the Upload Create option, there is the option to create a new assignment. And under the Existing Activities option, there is the option to add an assignment. So what's going on with that? Let me start out by going to the course tools and going to assignments. And this is sort of like the page in your Moodle course where you could see all the assignments that you had added to the front page of your Moodle course. And this is a brand new course, so I have no assignments. So I can click on New Assignment. And let me say Chapter 1, Reading Response. And basic instructions are, read Chapter 1 and answer the following questions. Now I haven't provided Chapter 1 to the students yet, so it's but assuming that they've got a textbook that they've got for the course. You will notice that by default, when you create assignments, they are ungraded and they are not automatically put into the grade book. So that, again, is a little bit different than Moodle. In Moodle, if you created an assignment, by default, it was added to the grade book unless you told Moodle not to add it. I'm not going to do anything with grading right for this session because I've got a session on gradebook coming up at 9:30. But anyway, you can provide a date when the assignment opens up, a date when the assignment is due over here, and a date when the assignment goes away. Now, if you put a due date, Brightspace will just keep track of whether things came in before or after the due date. If you put an end date, then your students will lose access to the assignment and are unable to submit things after the due date. I tend not to put in an end date, but rather just rely on the due date because I'd rather get stuff late in my case and know that it's late rather than deal with emails from students saying, I missed the deadline, can I submit, and so forth. Under the submission and completion, you can specify whether you want them to submit just typing text into the assignment or whether you want them to submit a file. You can, if you're having them submit a file, you can restrict it to one file, which is probably what you're going to want most of the time. The default is unlimited, which allows them to just upload as many files as they want. So you might want to change that to one. And then under evaluation and feedback. If you have a rubric for your assignment, you have the ability to add it here. We don't have time to really talk much about rubrics today. Maybe that's something we can have a workshop on later. But anyway, this is a very basic assignment. I haven't bothered specifying a due date. Well, let me just put in, next week is the due date.
Heath, while you're
And
putting the date in, can you just, there's a question from Julian in the chat. If the reading is a PDF, how do you link to it through the assignment page? Which I feel like is a throwback to auto linking, which is not really a feature in Brightspace. But I believe if
yeah,
you use the insert stuff link, you can point to an existing document.
right. So if I had to put that document up as a PDF, it would be on the course page somewhere in one of the modules, and it would show up here under content. But I haven't. Let's say I had a PDF for that chapter up in Unit 1. It would show up here as one of the items, and I could click to link it there. Actually, there are only a couple people who asked about uploading files, so I wasn't going to, spend a lot of time on that, but it's pretty straightforward. Anyway, here's basically the example where they're reading a chapter from the text. If you've got the document, you can upload it. If I click Save and Close, you'll see that the assignment is here listed under assignments, but if you go to content, it's not going to show up in any one of your course modules. What I can do here in Unit 1 is go to add an existing activity, an existing assignment, and then Brightspace will list all the assignments I've created. I can select it, and then now it shows up in the module here. I can edit properties in place. So actually I didn't even need to select that. If I wanted to um, have more directions here, or if I wanted not to have the directions show up here, I could edit and update what actually shows up on the module page here. I find that kind of cumbersome. Go to the assignments area, create your assignment, then go to your content area and figure out where you want it to show up. I tend to say, well, let me just work in the modules that I've created. So here, I have the option to create a new assignment right where I want it to show up. And so, chapter 12, maybe we're working on chapter 12 by the time we're in that third unit here. Here are the directions. Here's a due date. Come on, So I'm going to have it due out here sometime. Um, and I'm not going to bother. Well, let me go over here and say I only want one file, and I only want files that are you can restrict it to uploading PDFs. You can restrict it to basically PDFs and Word docs and so forth that you can annotate in the grading interface, which we're not going to have the time to go into for this kind of brief overview workshop. I'll just say PDF only here. And now when I click, oh, and also by default, it's going to be hidden here. So if I make it visible, now if I click Save and Close, we'll see that if we go here to that unit, we will see that in this Life Beyond the Solar System unit, I've added an assignment here for chapter 12. This really is not a very good description, so you probably want to do better when you're setting up your assignments. Okay. Um, Same kind of thing for adding discussions, adding quizzes. Real, we really probably need to have a whole separate session at some point on setting up quizzes and quiz banks. But same kind of thing. Under course tools, you have the ability to go to your discussions area and create a new discussion forum. Um, or go to your uh, question library and add questions, which you can then you can then create into quizzes. Um, but again, I find it generally just easier to go to where in my course that I want students to be working on these things, and you can create a new discussion, create a new quiz, create a new checklist right in the area where you want students to work. Um, these are going to look fairly similar in a title, description. Um, One thing about discussion forums, you you need to basically create forums and then have topics within the forum. Um, so I can create a forum that I call, say, course discussions. And then I can call this, week 3 discussion. And here are the directions. Um, you can require that students post something to the topic before they can see what other students have done. That's sort of like the Q&A discussion forum that we had in Moodle. The default participation is sort of like the standard discussion forum type that we had in Moodle, where there's nothing comparable to the single focused discussion forum or some of the other two forum types that we had in Moodle. Again, if I save and close, that forum will show up in the module, and shows up here as a discussion topic. I can add some better directions on the front page. If I go to the course tools area and look under discussions, creating the discussion here in the module makes that discussion show up in the discussions, just as creating that assignment in module 3, in unit 3, causes that assignment to show up here in the assignments area. So, that's kind of talking about adding some really basic activities, assignments, discussions, kind of a hint about how you might work on quizzes, creating question libraries first that you can, again, um, build into new quizzes. Um, the other half of setting up your course modules are providing resources. And so we have the option here to upload a file. So that question earlier about, well, I've got a PDF that I want to provide to my students. that I then want them to focus on in that reading response paper assignment. I can click upload files here, go to my computer, and hopefully pick something that's not going to be too um, oh, so here maybe I can upload a PDF. Well, strategic plan. Let's go ahead and upload that. And I click add, and then you can see that this document has been added to this course module. Again, wherever you see these symbols here, you can drag and drop things. So let's go ahead and put that up there. You can actually drag and drop things across modules, which is convenient. So if I wanted to actually put that reading into module 1, I can do that. And if we go over to module 1, you'll see that that PDF has been put there. Now, there were a fair number of people who asked about creating course pages. That's also under this upload create menu. Brightspace calls adding a web page to your course creating a file, which we thought was very confusing. And we went through the whole process of getting all of the SUNY campuses to agree on amending that to create a file web page. Because they're basically you're creating an HTML file, but this is a way to basically put a page of content that is instructor generated. So here, my lecture notes for week 5. And then, you can copy and paste material in here. You can type in, you can add, can add images, you can set up tables, everything that you want to do here. I don't have, page of lecture notes to save here. I do want to actually just comment on one thing here. By default, you have kind of a blank template to create a course content page in. So creating a web page is basically a course content page that you're generating. If you want to use some of these document templates, there is a video lecture template. And so if you select that, you can replace this blank template with something that's kind of pre-filled in, uh, rather than having you have to start with a blank page and um, construct it from scratch. You can rely on these web page templates to provide some of the basic structure so that you don't have to. Um, Personally, when I was putting my course together this summer, I really didn't make use of the templates. It's easy enough to embed videos and images and so forth in the blank template, but might want to play around with them to take a look at some of the built-in um, uh, page formats that are available. If you want to use these accordion features to be able to present a chunk of material that students can collapse and expand, then this is probably the easiest way to do that. I'll just cancel out of here just to show you what um, a page would look like in a regular course. Let me, come on. Not a good time to stop responding, Brightspace.
While Brightspace is responding, we have a question from Jenny about, for those who haven't done it yet, what are the recommendations on how to record videos of ourselves? So
So you have a
consider
couple of
that.
options. There is actually a video tool in Brightspace. So let me create a web page and where is it? Inserts. So there's insert quick link, which is how you would do the kind of auto linking that we did in Moodle. There's insert stuff, and one of the stuffs that you can add in is a video note. And the default is to record your webcam. And I'm recording the team session, so I don't know what's going to be like if I record. Yeah, that might just be too much. So anyway, that would be a very easy way for you to record like a video note. And basically, wherever you are working with text in Brightspace, if you are adding comments on a student's assignment submission, or you are setting up a discussion forum prompt, wherever you've got the Brightspace editing toolbar, you can go here to insert stuff and add a video note. If you wanted to, the reason why I find my YouTube videos first is that it's a better interface for searching, but you could actually search for YouTube within this add stuff. Yeah, it would help if I would. And then you can insert it. Same thing with uh, inserting a video note, um, inserting files, and so forth. So yeah, Jenny, I think if you wanted to provide a video note for your students, again, you can do this wherever you are working on in the Brightspace text editor. And just to put a video note in by itself, adding a web page to your course where you've used the video note tool is probably the easiest way. You could also use VoiceThread, but that's the fourth workshop for this morning. There was some interest in virtual classroom, and this is a tool that I think is best used not from within the content area, but from within under course tools. So if you go to the course tools area, down at the bottom, it is virtual classroom. And if you select that, you're taken to a page that exists sort of outside of your content structure, where you can list all of the virtual classroom meetings that you have set up for your course. So here, when I was prepping for the workshop, at 1:30 this morning, I set up a workshop demo, virtual classroom, and one of the options here under this menu is to launch it. And hopefully, the session is ready to be started. You click join, and I'm going to
You are currently the only person in this conference.
currently the only person in the conference. You can turn on your video camera. You can share your screen. You can upload presentations. So if I upload this exoplanet, I can either upload a PowerPoint or a PDF, doesn't matter either one. And I will upload it. Come Oh, upload. Sorry. And then that presentation would be available for me to walk through in this virtual classroom session. Again, you can share your screen. I'm going to leave, or I'm going to end this meeting and close this window down. And that one, if I go back into my Bongo area here, the virtual classroom is provided by this third-party platform. I can click to schedule a meeting. And for example, I can call it office hours. And then, where's my calendar showing up here? Oh, there we go. So I'm going to start next Monday at 9 a.m. I can specify the duration, and I can have it repeat every week on Monday for the next 10 weeks and save that. And so that those sessions now show up in the active meetings space. So again, these aren't necessarily located in a particular module. They're in this course tools virtual classroom. So you would want to direct your students to also go under course tools virtual classroom and see the meetings that you've got set up there. So I'm going to stop sharing at this point. And hopefully, you know, hopefully you're comfortable enough to basically get a blank empty course shell for your course. The first steps are going to be create the modules, whether they're weeks or units that you want to have your course organized around. And then you can upload files, you can create web pages, you can add links. Those are some of the basic resources you'd probably want to put into your different modules. You can add assignments, you can add discussions. And we didn't really give quizzes their due in the session today, but we'll have some sessions in the future about adding to your question library and setting up quizzes. And with that, I'm going to stop recording.